Now, now, now who can't run? Now who can't run? Who can't run? Yeah, yeah.
Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Bree. I know, guys, I'm trying to catch up with these videos. I have been so busy, so that's why my recaps have been coming out late. So please excuse me being late, but I'm getting back to it. So I'm basically caught up now with Ready to Love. So we are episode 6, right? So yeah. But thank you so much for tuning in to another one of my recaps. And as always, I'm here to discuss Ready to Love Season 9, Episode 6, titled Closed Mouths Don't Get Fed. All right, y'all, let's get into it. So we start this episode off with Mika and Koshia, because you guys, we were left on a cliffhanger last week. So basically, we're at the point of finding out who's going home, being eliminated. So, Will was called to the front to be the bearer of bad news. So Will tells Mika that, all the fellas feel like they get a homie vibe from her.
Yesterday's price is not today's price. Yesterday's price is not today's price.
And then he tells Koshia that basically she talked too much and that the chatter she had amongst the men and women was off-putting. So therefore, Will says, Koshia, we don't think you're ready to love. So yeah, y'all, she's the one that got eliminated this week. And personally, I kind of felt that was going to happen. She needed to go. I don't know if she was making connections like that. I know at the pajama party, she was talking to a few of the guys there, but I think for the most part, the men there were just not really interested just because of her attitude and everything. The only one who really wanted her to stay was LaRon. So, in my opinion, it was best that she leave. So anyway, she leaves, and then Tommy tells everyone that he wants everybody to delve into each other when it comes to non-negotiables. So basically, that's the theme this week. Everybody needs to find out what the person that they're communicating with or interested in, what is their non-negotiables. So he said the non-negotiables should be things that they absolutely should not budge on. And then he lets everyone know that the power is in the ladies' hands this week, and they have to choose a person, one guy, to eliminate. So we see in a new scene, we see Rashina and Justin, they go out on a date, and they're going salsa dancing. So they start dancing, and Justin, at first he's having some trouble, getting the dance counts down. But then eventually, y'all, he got it together. So they were dancing with each other, flirting, having fun, just having a good time. So that was a really cool scene to see, especially not seeing them go to a restaurant. Y'all know how I feel about that with OWN. Like, can we get it together? Ready to Love, production company, whoever does this show. Can we get some more dates like this? I'm tired of seeing people at restaurants. Like, y'all know my gripe about it. So anyway, let me not get on this rant. So after they finish dancing, they sit down and they start talking, and he asks her, what are some things you consider as non-negotiables? So Rashina says, communication, because I'm a very thorough and detailed person. And then he says, well, I don't mind expressing myself, but I need someone that can talk about anything. So he basically, is saying that with her. And so you can tell they enjoyed their date. I think they're feeling each other even more. I'm kind of liking them together. So anyway, next we see Alexis arrive at a restaurant with Chaz. Pause, y'all. Tell me what you guys think about this. I feel like this season, Ready to Love is giving Alexis a whole lot of camera time. I don't know what it is. I see her so much more so than I see the other people on the show. Like, I feel like she's getting the most dates, even though probably in reality she's not. But I feel as though for the show, they're giving her way more camera time than, in my opinion, than they are anybody else. Y'all, comment below if you guys agree with me with that, because every time, it's like every episode she's in it and we always see her dates.
So now why am I in it? And you could have did it.
See,
I get drawn in. She never apologized.
So I don't know. That's just me. So anyway, y'all, she arrives at a restaurant with Chaz. I didn't even know they were talking like that, but whatever. So she asked him, how do you feel about the person that just went home? And he says, I felt bad. And so she says, well, to be quite honest, it didn't bother me. So Chaz asked her, he's like, well, did something happen? And she tells him what happened, between them in the ladies' lounge. Now, I'm going to say this, even though I hate to admit this, I'm starting to agree with Koshia and Mika, because why are you going back telling Chaz anything? First of all, Koshia's gone. We don't need to talk about what happened anymore. And I don't understand why you felt the need to even bring that up. You're on a date. You should be trying to get to know him, ask him questions. Why are we sitting here talking about another woman, especially another woman who's not even in the process anymore? There's just no reason to have brought Koshia up. Now, unless the producers told you to bring it up to start some mess on the show. But to me, that was very off-putting. I'm like, why are you bringing up another woman? You on a date with this dude? I don't know. I don't know why she felt the need to do that, because you're wasting your date time talking about another female. I don't get it. So that's just me, y'all. So anyway, after she tells him about what happened between her and Koshia, they start talking about non-negotiables. So he tells her that his non-negotiables are cheating, and she says for her, it's loyalty. So Chaz lets her know that she is one of his connections, and when he first saw her, he wanted to get to know her. Y'all, yeah, I'm going to save this part towards the end of my recap, and you're going to see why I say this, but I'm telling y'all, Chaz is a player. I've been saying this since episode 2 when we were first introduced to him. Chaz think he's slick. He think he's smooth. He's good looking. And he telling all the girls the same thing. But we going to talk about that later, y'all. We're going to talk about it later. Anyway, in a new scene, we see Patrice, Vanessa, Alonzo, and William out together on a group date. Of course, y'all, they at a restaurant. So William says that, he has good conversations with Vanessa, but every time he's tried to reach out to her, she hasn't responded. So he's letting us know that in his confessional. So Patrice and William are talking, and it was kind of awkward because Vanessa was definitely the fourth wheel. Patrice was talking to Alonzo too, and then she would talk to William, and William and Alonzo weren't really connecting with Vanessa. And it was basically okay, why is Vanessa even here? Because ain't nothing going on. So they're all talking, and Alonzo asked everyone, do they believe in love at first sight? And so Patrice says yes. And Vanessa says that she believes for a man, it's easier to fall in love at first sight rather than a woman falling in love at first sight. So Alonzo says, he believes in it, and he starts looking at Patrice in her eyes and starts flirting with her. And I thought that was so cute because he's sitting up there I believe in it. And whatever he was saying, y'all, in the show, it was just so funny. And Patrice is blushing. And he was doing this in front of William because he knows that William has a connection with Patrice as well. So then Patrice asks them, what are some non-negotiables for y'all? So Alonzo says, well, it depends on who I'm dealing with, but I can put up with anything. Now, Alonzo, that is not a good thing. You need to have deal breakers and non-negotiables when it comes to relationships. Honestly, when it comes to friendships, just kind of in any relationship, you should not be willing to put up with anything. That can really harm you in the long run. It could put your life at risk. You can't be walking around this earth talking about you don't have no boundaries and no non-negotiables. I don't know if he was saying that to try to impress Patrice, but if he really feels this way, that's not a good look. You need to have some type of standard for yourself and some things you're not going to allow.
I know that's right. I know that's right.
Anyway, let me get off my tangent. So for Vanessa, she says that communication is a non-negotiable for her. Like, she needs to communicate with her man. And William says that a warm spirit, you know, someone who's inviting, things like that is a non-negotiable for him. So he tells everybody at the table, he lets them know that he was adopted and that his children, he has 3 sons, I believe, they're his first blood family. So all of a sudden, William turns to Vanessa at the table. So he tried to call her out, right? He says, you know, I tried to text you, but I didn't get anything back. So Vanessa's like, well, show me what number you text. So William pulls out his phone and he shows her the text message and the phone number he texts. So she says, there's a 4 at the end. And basically, y'all, we all find out he texts the wrong number. So I'm laughing because I'm like, see, William, you sitting up here trying to call her out, but in the end ended up being called out. And so it was just so funny to me. And you can tell Vanessa is just not interested in him at all. She is just, and I think even that turned her off even more because it's like, you trying to put me on blast, you know, put me on the spot in front of everybody when you text the wrong number. So that was the end of that, y'all. Next, we see Dominique, which I'm going to call him Dom. I don't know. I just want to call him Dom. So next we see Dom and Mika out on a date. And, you know, they're talking and he lets her know that he's a gentleman, but he also has a street side to him and he's cultured. Then, y'all know they do this back and forth. Then the scene jumps over to Maya and Justin on a date. I think they're at some, like, I don't know, it kind of looks like a lounge, but they have like food there or whatever. So it shows them out on a date, getting to know each other, you know, kind of, you know, talking and seeing where their connection can go. Then the scene jumps back to Mika and Dom. So Mika lets Dom know her non-negotiables are, you know, having a sense of humor. And she says, I'm sorry, and then he says he loves to cook and that he wants someone to kind of help him with that. And so he also says he likes someone who is compromising. So then, y'all, here we go. Then they start talking about the whole kid thing situation. So as a refresher to you guys, Mika says that she doesn't want any more kids. And y'all already know Dom want a whole tribe. He want 2 to 10 kids. So, and like I said in the last recap, why are you two still pursuing this? You're unequally yoked and you want different things. You cannot settle on having children or not having children. That's a very big thing. Anyway, I digress. So they start talking about that subject. And Mika says, basically, if she found the right guy, she would be open to possibly having more kids. And I'm like, Mika and Dom, like, what? Like, now all of a sudden you're kind of changing your stance. You know darn well that you don't want any more children. And my thing is, stand on that. You're just going to have to, you know, get over that and then, you know, possibly find someone who doesn't want more kids or just not be on the show anymore because, you know, the guy for you is not there. And Dom, why would you even, like, y'all, yeah, because I don't know, this just kind of irritates me. And it's like, you guys are sitting up here when you both know that you don't want the same things. It's just not going to work. So anyway, back on over to Justin and Maya's date. Justin asked her to tell him about herself. So she says that she's been in the DFW area for about 6 months, and he lets her know that he's a PE teacher. So he asked her what are her non-negotiables, and Maya says that, you know, she likes someone that is family oriented. So they both tell each other, you know, we don't have kids, and, you know, they're both looking for a long-term relationship. And of course, like, Justin lets her know that, you know, I'm a long-term relationship type of guy and, you know, I would want kids. And so, of course, Maya definitely wants kids. And so Justin says that's like a green flag in his book because the women he's been meeting, on the show, they don't want kids. And so I find that to be so funny because I'm like, okay, Justin, in one breath, you were saying like, oh, if I don't have kids, I'm older now, that would be fine. But then when you're on a date with Maya, you're like, yeah, like that's a green flag in my book that she wants kids. And I was like, see, this is what I'm talking about, y'all. Being double-minded. And like we all have our moments being double-minded or whatever. But when it comes to important things like this, again, like children, that is something that should be a non-negotiable for you. If you want children, you should stand on it. If you don't want children, you should stand on it.
You know I stand on business. You know I stand on business. Why you even letting somebody play with me like that?
And if you find somebody that you guys do not agree with, that wants the same things, you need to move on. Do not keep progressing in that relationship. And that's how that's how you start catching feelings. That's why it may be harder for you to let go of the relationship when you should have just cut it off from the jump because you don't want the same things. And my thing is, Justin, I knew he wanted kids. You can't go around saying like you'd be okay if you didn't have kids because deep down inside, that's not true. Otherwise, you wouldn't have said that about Maya. So anyway, y'all, so Maya lets him know that her top connection right now is William. I think she says something that he kind of is like kind of moving up in that space. So overall, they had a good date. They had a good time. And yeah, their date ends. In a new scene, we see Rashina on a date with Jonathan and Will. And we learn that they're at this place where they're going to make body butter. So they all start making their body butter. And she asks them, what are your deal breakers? So Will says the most important thing to him is faith in God. And she says, trust, lying, and commitment, those are like my non-negotiables. So when it was Jonathan's turn to like say what his were, he kept saying like, it was like he couldn't think of anything to say. So he kind of seemed checked out of the date. And so in his confessional, he says that when it comes to Rashina, he is private and he can only give so much. So he does finally answer, and he says that his deal breaker is a woman that smokes. So, like, basically during the date, it was just awkward between Rashina and Jonathan. Like, you can tell ain't nothing there. And he just wanted to leave that date. So he basically tells them that he has to go, and he leaves the date early. So at this point, Rashina didn't care because it was just like, well, okay, there's, no connection between us anyway. So, okay, so all of a sudden, right, Will starts grilling Rashina with like all these questions. And then he going to tell her, he was like, don't give me no corporate America answers. And so I'm just like, okay, Will, like you can ask someone questions, but no one wants to feel grilled or like you're chastising them. That's not a cool feeling. So yeah, I didn't really like that. So Rashina says that she says this in her confessional. She was saying that he was making her uncomfortable with all those questions like he was like getting at her with. And she definitely said there is no connection between her and him at all. So anyway, y'all, next we see the ladies arrive at the lounge to meet up with Tommy. So we already know what's going to take place. They're basically going to deliberate and tell Tommy who they want to go home this week. So they all start talking about their dates, right? And Rashina says, oh, I'm sorry, y'all. It was Rashina that said Justin had moved up to being one of her connections. So y'all scratch what I was saying earlier that Maya had said that. No, it was Rashina. So my bad. So anyway, and then everybody else started talking about what happened on their dates this week. So Tommy then asked, which one of these guys are actually a non-negotiable for you? Basically, what guy for you are just like, absolutely not, it's not happening.
Absolutely not. Not me. Certainly not I.
So Vanessa says William, excuse me. She says that William is the person that she's not connecting with. And Mika and Rashina both agree. They say the same thing about William. So Alexis, Rashina, and Maya says that Jonathan is definitely not a connection for them. And then Mika says that Will isn't a connection for her because he was so thirsty from the day that they met. So Patrice also says Will as well. So Patrice starts talking, right? So she says that, I thought that what we say in the lounge stays in the lounge. So she turns to Alexis and she says, I know you want to help this guy. She's talking about Will, right? So she says, I know you want to help this guy and uplift him. That's a great thing. But when you're telling him things that are discussed in the lounge, it gets dangerous. So Alexis says, Will is his own person. And after the ladies' lounge, we spoke. And I had to give him examples of some of the things that were negatives about him. So she also says, well, I didn't say your name. I didn't say Patrice said. I didn't say anything. So Patrice says, well, he came directly to me at the pajama party talking about that I was going around saying he was sleeping on the floor. So I find it real hard to believe that my name was not attached to exactly what I said.
Hold on, wait. Let me fix my wig and myself because I'm so tired of everybody talking about some. Hold on.
So I'm going to say this. Patrice, in the scene we saw, because I don't know what happens outside of the show, but just from us as the viewers, I'm talking about what is shown. Alexis did not tell Will it was you that said that. She really didn't. She was just saying that, one of the ladies said that you guys had a phone conversation and you said something about sleeping on the floor. She never mentioned your name. So right there, you're wrong. However, I will say I could see how it can be suspicious because now I kind of see what the ladies are talking about when it comes to Alexis. You do kind of run your mouth and you be going back telling the men stuff of what goes on in the ladies' lounge. And it became apparent to me when you told Chaz, when y'all went on your date, that you and Koshia got into it. And it happened at the ladies' lounge. What happens there is supposed to stay there. I don't know why you felt the need to go back and even tell him that. I just thought that was weird. So now it kind of opened my eyes like, okay, yeah, you do go back telling guys things. Now, I don't know if you told Will it was actually Patrice, maybe when y'all were on the phone, when the cameras were gone, I don't know. But Patrice, she did not tell Will from what we saw on the episode. But also, too, Will said that he went up to everybody, all the women, and was telling them about that. And he said whoever had a reaction to what he said, he knew that was the person that was saying those things about him. So that was basically on Will. You can't blame Alexis for that. But I could see how you would not believe her or whatever. Anyway, y'all, let me stop running my mouth. So anyway, Alexis and Mika start going at it because Mika just puts her 2 cents in it.
Play with your mama, not me. And that's on who? That's on Mary Had a Little Lamb. I'm tired.
So they kind of start arguing a little bit. So Tommy basically had to calm them down. He's like, I understand where everybody's coming from, but let's move on. So then Tommy come throwing us a curveball talking about, I'm going to just let y'all know that not 1, but 2 men are leaving this journey tonight. So everybody's like, wait a minute, what? Basically, y'all, 2 men have to leave the journey tonight. And I'm just like, dag, Tommy's like that. Dag, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of a lot right now to be getting rid of 2 people already. I don't know about that. But basically, he tells the ladies, you got to choose 3 men to be at the bottom, but you have to tell at least 2 guys that their journey is ending. So the ladies are shocked and they're like, okay, Tommy, we're going to get this over with. So we see in a new scene, Vanessa meet up with Will at a restaurant. And then we see William meet up with Maya. And then lastly, we see Alexis meet up with Jonathan. So Alexis and Jonathan, they're sitting down talking, and he apologizes to her about what happened at the pajama party. And, she lets him know that the ladies, all of them had to deliberate this week. Then the scene jumps over to Vanessa and Will, and Vanessa tells him that the ladies found him to be chatty and it's just been off-putting.
I don't need no lecture from you, but I have to duck myself in this house.
Then the scene jumps over to Maya telling William that all the ladies, they kind of get a friend vibe from him. And so, yeah, that's kind of like his issue on why he's at the bottom this week. So basically, they all have their talks with these guys. And so we see that Vanessa tells Will that he's not ready to love. And so Will was like, okay. So I think in his confessional, he said something about, he was grateful for the opportunity. And, he really didn't have any hard feelings about it. So Maya tells William that he is still ready to love. So basically, y'all, William is the one that made it to the end. He's not going home. And you can tell he was relieved because then he kind of was able to eat. And he's like, ooh, child, thank God. This part is over. And then lastly, y'all, Alexis tells Jonathan that he's no longer ready to love. And at this point, it was kind of hard for Alexis to tell him that because she started getting teary-eyed. And he was like, it's cool, no hard feelings, things like that. I'm glad that I met you. And he's definitely into Alexis because I think he said something about, I'll reach out to you or I'll talk to you later, something like that. She didn't respond. I don't know if Alexis is really feeling Jonathan, to be honest. So, yeah, y'all. But that is the end of the episode. And scene. So yeah, y'all, that is the end of episode 6. And I'm going to give this episode, I'm going to give it a 7.5. I don't know, y'all. It's like these episodes. I am enjoying the season. Don't get me wrong. I really am enjoying the season. But I feel like the episodes aren't, it's hard for me to give an 8 and above. I'm noticing with these episodes, I wanted it to be hit right out of the park, But, I'm hopefully these episodes, will start getting better. Not saying it's bad or anything like that. I just don't see it being an 8 or more. But that's just my opinion. Everybody may think differently. But it's a good season. I'm really enjoying the season. But anyway, y'all, thank you so much for tuning in to another one of my episode recaps. Oh, please subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you can be informed whenever I upload a new video. Also, too, comment below. Tell me your thoughts on this week's episode. Do you think that the men who were eliminated should have gotten eliminated? What do you guys think about that whole little exchange between Patrice and Alexis in the ladies' lounge? And I'm just curious to, know your thoughts for this week. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And as always, before you go, I'd love to say a prayer over you. And so here it goes. So may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. May the Lord turn his face towards you and give you his peace and protection and favor. This is my prayer over your life. In Jesus' name, amen. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you in my next recap. And yeah, bye.